Hello and welcome back to the second instalment of Sport Isn't All But Bat and Ball. Now, last time out, you may remember that I spoke to you about the growth and globalisation of the rapidly rising sport of mixed martial arts. If you'd like to go watch that video, please just have a look here on screen. Now, today I'm going to look a little deeper, more specifically focusing on differences of social media engagement for male and female athletes in the UFC. At this current moment in time, there are 720 active fighters on the UFC roster, 590 male and 130 female. These figures show that out of the 720 active fighters, only 18% of them are female. It's important to bear this proportional percentage in mind when reviewing the data on social media engagement. Will the ratio of 18% female to 82% male reflect across the amount of tweets and engagement they might receive? Mesner said in 2013 that commercial media sport sells boys/men a glorified package of what masculinity is. A real man is strong, tough, and aggressive, as it says on screen here. But if the female fighters are going into the cage and competing just like the men are, fighting toe-to-toe, who's going to tell the women that they aren't strong, tough, and aggressive, and that they don't deserve to have the coverage that the men do? Previously, I spoke about BT Sport's ongoing broadcasting deal with the UFC. Today, I'm going to look at BT Sport's Twitter account, or X nowadays, to see what the engagement looks like for tweets specifically about male or female UFC fighters. Looking at the data collected, BT Sport mentioned the UFC in 376 different tweets. There were 114 general UFC tweets that did not mention either a male or female fighter. Tweets only concerning male fighters amassed 218 tweets, compared to tweets concerning female fighters with only 23. This means that with the data collected, female-orientated tweets only make up for 10% of male-orientated and female-orientated tweets pushed out by BT Sport combined. It's even lower when looking at all the UFC-related tweets, as female-orientated posts make up only 6% of the 376 tweets. Now, Bruce in 2013 said that media sport is overwhelmingly male, covered by men, for men, and about men. Women's sport gets covered for between 5 to 10% of the time, as it says here on screen. And that is true, the stats match up. The 114 general UFC tweets that did not mention neither a male fighter or female fighter received 14,164 retweets, averaging 124 per post. However, after removing the two anomalies shown on screen now and creating an average from 112 tweets, a general UFC tweet will receive 85 retweets on average. The 218 male-orientated tweets received 62,218 retweets between them, averaging 285 retweets per post. However, after once more removing the 10 anomalies shown on screen now and creating an average from 208 tweets, a male-orientated tweet will receive 155 retweets on average. The 23 female-orientated tweets received 7,255 retweets between them, averaging 315 retweets per post, an initial figure that is higher than the male-orientated tweets' initial average. However, after once more removing the 3 anomalies shown on screen just here, creating an average from 20 tweets, a female-orientated tweet will receive 96 retweets on average. Now, there were 16 tweets including male and female fighters in the same post from BT Sport. Across said 16 tweets, there were 1,997 retweets. This means that both male and female-orientated posts averages 125 retweets. With male-orientated posts receiving 155 retweets on average and female-orientated posts receiving 96 retweets on average, seeing the average retweets of a male and female-orientated post on Twitter fall at 125 is almost exactly in between the two previous figures mentioned, starting to show that the tweets surrounding male UFC fighters will often receive more engagement. Finally, after what has seemed to be a lot of calculations, averages, and use of the word orientated, let's look at the facts and statistics that we've learned from today's data. Initially, we found out that out of the 720 active UFC fighters, 18% of them are female. After combining the amount of male-orientated tweets with the female-orientated tweets and finding out that female tweets only make up for 10% of them and 6% in all of the UFC-related tweets from the BT Sport Twitter account, it's clearly shown that the female UFC athletes are being underreported on. Whilst male-orientated tweets average 155 retweets compared to the females' 96 retweets, 10% is an astronomically low figure, knowing that 18% of UFC athletes are female. It's understandable that BT Sport may see more engagement from tweets regarding male UFC athletes, but with nearly 200 tweets more than the female fighters, the disparity is much greater than it perhaps could and should be. It's also not to be forgotten that a general UFC tweet only averages 85 retweets, more than 10 less, of course, than a female-orientated tweet. So, In conclusion, the data has shown that BT Sport's tweets regarding male UFC fighters receive more engagement than female UFC fighters. However, what was more blatant was that for the amount of female fighters there are in the UFC, they don't receive a fair proportion of coverage and reporting. It'll be interesting to see how much this changes going into the future in terms of how much engagement tweets receive, but also how much female UFC fighters are reported on. The sources that I have mentioned will be shown on screen now, just here. And I have been Arthur Difford. This has been Sport Isn't All But Bat and Ball. I thank you very much for joining me, and I shall see you in the next episode. Thank you.